Tony Gwynn was short for a human, but he was a soldier. He had fought in skirmishes for the trade colonies for almost a decade. It was 3 battles ago when a sharp flash took his left eye. A split second sooner, and he would have lost both. The camera-link prosthetic worked, but he missed the feeling of wholeness, and thus he sat in the chair, in the lab of some rando preserver, on a flung-out hyper-aggressive Genforge world. Cookie stared into the hole left by the removed robotic eye. He reached in using a laser scalpel to cut out the wiring harness. I said, "Do not flinch." "Reactionary," the veteran said. "You refused the chemical nerve inhibitors. Your stating you could handle it is proving a lie." Tony focused his remaining eye away from the cascading colors of light coming from the luminaries above and onto the preserver. "I heard you were the best. I could handle it if you can handle what you're doing." Cookie straightened up, focusing his 3 eyes at the human. "I am the best. I have the largest collection my people have ever seen. There will be seasons here until my skin grows crusty and flakes away. I don't give a shit about that crap. You told me you were good at working on humans." Cookie pushed Tony back into the chair. "I have made miracles from your race. Titans born from your base DNA now walk the worlds. You have no idea." Cookie started again to remove the wires. "It's easier when you are balls of telomeres and proteins. You are a nuisance when put back together." "Shit. You just work on clones or something?" "Quiet. Let me work. Your vocalizations are a nuisance." Tony winced again as a wire was pulled free from the socket. Cookie placed the remnant into the bloody collection tray. He then maneuvered the chair toward the secondary table. "Now will be easier. That damn mechanical nonsense is gone. Now I can focus on my work." Cookie scrolled through the files on the display, highlighting eyes. He looked at it with 2 eyes and 1 eye focused on Tony. "Are you wanting me to put in an eye like your old one? Or would you like an upgrade?" Tony frowned at the 3-legged creature. "My prosthetic was supposed to be an upgrade. I didn't like it. I wanted as close to my own as possible." "Boring," Cookie said. He then scrolled the sequencer over to Tony's DNA and started it to printing. "Your eye will be ready shortly." Tony sat still in the chair, watching as the protein printer laid out his eye in layers. He looked up at the also-waiting preserver. "You get a lot of humans coming to you?" Cookie rotated an eye and looked at him. "Some. Mostly life-state saving. Travelers wanting a record in case something happens to them in the void. You had any die, you know? I mean, you have to remake people?" Cookie tapped 3 fingers on the table. "Yeah. I had a couple come through from Twain. They were of the Rogue Mother. They came here to fight some of the indigenous fauna. Their bones were found in the fecal remains of a Sanagor. I remade them quite well." Tony was still watching his eye finish printing when a smile crossed his face. "You know much about human history?" "Yes, I know it in detail. I've grown many of your kind and seen all the life phases you go through. Remnants of your historical junk DNA clutter your genome. It is quite a mess, actually." Tony laughed. "Not our genetic history. That's just weird. No, I mean our history. Cookie stood up and started prepping the eye for insertion. "You mean what did your forebear do? And what did his forebear do? And so on?" "Yeah, stories. You heard ours?" "No, and I don't care too. Every sapient has stories. They are all the same. Life starts, do some things, life ends, and all is forgotten. Variants of that through infinity." He lifted the eye up with a pair of sterile tongs. "Keep still. The protoclasp is very gooey. If you move, it may bond into the wrong part of your socket." Cookie paused as Tony got situated and still. "If it bonds wrong, you'll be staring at your feet with it. Don't move." Tony kept still as the preserver of Vitalia pressed the gloop of a nerve ending into the hole. The slime crept through the socket, pulling the eye into place. Cookie then pulled his eyelid down over the eye and put a bandage and tape over it. "It take right?" Tony asked. "Yes, I believe so." It seemed eager to bond. "Let me finish securing it." You will need to rest for 2 weeks. Are you staying close? Yeah, I'm over in the hotel down the street. I got it rented out for a month. Cookie got up and touched the data terminal. That will be 3,400 clams. Tony touched his ring, causing it to emit a hologram display. He highlighted his account and sent over the required amount. Good. All is well then. Get up slowly. Tony grabbed one of Cookie's arms and pulled himself upright. He looked into the alien's eye. I brought up our history because I had an idea. It could make you quite a bit of money if you wanted in. Cookie let Tony lean on him and helped him stand. How much money? Dunno, it's just an idea, not a business plan. Cookie let go, leaving Tony standing upright. I have many profitable ideas already going. Let me know when you have something worthwhile. Until then, rest. Come back if it falls out or you start having tremors. Tony raised a hand up. All right, I will, but hear me out. You know humans, we fight a lot, right? Yes. I have seen humans fight. There is a bar down the street if you wish to fight. Many of your females frequent there. I find it humorous to watch the displays sometimes. Tony shook his head with a chuckle. No. I mean, like, really fight. Knives, metal knuckles, drag out, break bones, crush each other, ear-biting fights. Not some drunks hitting each other over a blonde. I'm talking boxing, MMA, gladiator shit. You know those? No, those just translated as sports. You are wanting to make a sport? Cookie stepped towards his experimenting desk. I have no need interest in human sport. Blood sports. Humans don't like to admit it, but we like watching each other get wrecked. With your help, I could bring it back. This time it wouldn't need slaves or nothing. With your savers, combatants could talk to you, go fight, and make money win or lose. Cookie paused his typing, raising an eye at the human male. The losers would be clones of their dead selves. That would cause issues, wouldn't it? Tony sat on a stool and shook his head. I think we'd have lots of volunteers. Lots of guys have blown through their stipends on booze, and the chance to make some cash and not remember the pain would be a selling point. People would line up to die. Cookie focused a second eye on him. And where would you be getting the money to fund not only the saving fees, but the money for the fighter? Betting. I've done my fair share of booking. Every fight would be profit for everyone involved. Cookie looked back down at his work. I get the bodies after. Tony thought for a second, staring. You want the bodies? Yes. The heir have a sizable income from processing dead bodies for the Gallic. That is a revenue stream you could aid me acquiring. Tony laughed. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you get the bodies. So, you'll do this with me? Cookie looked up at him with all three eyes. This idea has some good properties. Does it just have to be humans fighting? I think it would be more profitable if you were to use some of the creatures of this planet. Your people are already spending money to come hunt them. Tony nodded. You're getting it. Exactly. Tony sat in the brightly lit room, staring across the table at the 5 trays of scribblers and the 3 vertical floating tubes containing Webians. The Webians flashed red light as they transmitted communications to one another. After several back and forths, one of the trays floated across to him. The tallest scribbler on the tray looked him in the eyes. Human Tony, we have gone over your business proposal. The sport-saving legislation passed for the races on Twain does seem to have leeway to allow for your venture. The Webians think that these death matches will draw unwanted attention, however. If we rebrand them and focus more on fights with the non-sapient species, we think we can gain a market. Once market and revenue are established, we will be open to the idea of allowing human-on-human combat. Tony thought for a moment, looking over the offered contract file. He looked up at the scribblers and then over to the Webians. Giants. The legal counselor looked at his cohorts, and then back at the human. Giants? What do giants have to do with this? Tony smiled wide, looking at everyone in the room. The data feeds are full of people's watching Raga, Grendel, and even the few videos of the curator giant here on Vitalia are quite popular. Yeah, we get people fighting the animals, I like that. But humans want to see humans fight. It's a thing. If we can't have full-blooded people fight, maybe we can do some sort of biomechanical thing. Maybe get Curator to sponsor it or something. The Webbians spoke amongst themselves, and then the middle one spoke up. Honestly, we were going to run this past Curator already. This is something we need approval for. We do not want any backlash from Twain. We have too many trade deals going through there to risk it. This giant idea sounds even more costly. We do not see how such a venture could make a profit. Tony stood up and paced, then paused to look at the Webbian consortium leader. Start with the animal fights. Get people watching. Sell tickets. Place bets. Get the casinos gambling on them, but broadcast them for free on the streams. Towards the end of every fight, put in an ad for the big fight. Go on and mention it to Curator. If she is in any way on board, it would so help out. So you think we can do this? The Webbian turned in his tube and looked at the others, talking over their private channel. It turned back to Tony and spoke through the open air. Tony's earpiece translated for him. We like it. We will run it through with the Curator. If she gives it a go, then we will assist this project. Tony contained himself and bowed. The boardroom cleared, and he followed a scribbler secretary on a tray out of the office. He walked outside into the gray, misty outdoors and jumped, fist pumping the air. 3 Vitalian hunters jumped away from him. Yes, badass! Money, money, money! Here I come! Chalika and Scout, the 2 surviving Gallic members of Hunter Party 48, were sitting in an alley, suited up, when they saw the human jumping at the air. Chalika turned to her lesser. Her 2 bodies spoke to his in unison. The Vitalian will come. It has been good to us so far. Scout's 2 bodies were slumped in a corner. Inside the suits, they were slowly turning to mush. I'm losing feelings. My minds aren't working so good. She put a suited claw on one of his chests. You will make it. Slitter is coming. If you have to go into stupor, do it. I will get you into new bodies. Rest family. She turned and watched as the human across the street danced away. Her claws and hands held tight to Scout's as her fellow Galakian's host bodies broke down, and he went limp. Slitter arrived several hours later. He sped around the corner and came to an abrupt stop. Chalika was holding on to several purple lumps with limp hair hanging out of them. She looked up with her 2 heads. He had the sick. He's gone. Slitter knelt down beside her. He was a good helper. Are you all right? She looked at him with the numerous eyes. I am for now. I don't know for how long. This world is too risky. I could get it and be gone just as quick as he did. I don't want to melt. Slitter sat next to her, extending his legs out and using his back worms to pull himself next to the wall. It's a little late for good news, but I got us a contract actually, too. The Preserver has work for us? She asked. Yeah, he has some new deal lined up and needs lab workers. I told him about you, and well, Scout. He was excited to have you on the team. He said he needed Gallic to run tests on. He offered a full-time job for both of you. She looked over at the misshapen suits. I will make more. Our last head left me with eggs. I will make more Scouts in his honor. He was a good helper, you're right. She looked back up at Slitter. He had other jobs? Yeah. He wants fighting creatures. He knows my people know the best around and asked for my input. I signed us up as local informants. We will have steady pay for several years. He wants a full princess on staff, and my tribe. Think he can find a cure for the sick? Chalika asked. Honestly, from what I've seen, they allow it. They don't want your people free, I think. I listened to some of them talk on the screens. The other smart peoples, they don't like your people. Says you warred and killed and did genocides. They sound weak to me. She looked down at her limbs. No, it's true. Gallic are always hungry. When not here, we feast without worry. Then the stupid humans came and blew up everything and killed our ships. Scattered my people across the rims. Slitter looked at his feet, mimicking her. Do you hate them? No. They are just doing as they do, just like my people. They are different, like everything in the void. Doesn't help to hate them. That is good. Hate screws up hunts, gets members killed for stupid reasons. This preserver may help you, I don't know. If they do know of it, they might could cure you. No, they won't cure me. You're right. My people genocided. Now they are genociding my people. We are all the same, it seems. He's not human. He's preserver. We are not all the same. This cookie, I have made numerous deals with him. He is very selfish, easily manipulated. You give him a little of what he wants, and he will beg for more. I will use that. I will save you, Kalika. She reached over with her suited claw and squeezed his. Thank you, Slitter. I would already be dead if it weren't for you. You are welcome, Princess Chalika of the Fallen. It is an honor helping you. Slayer and Stubborn were on the shore of the island when the message to return to the ship was received. We should head back then. She flashed at him with her chest colors. Slayer knelt down in the sand, placing his hand and a worm in the surf. Hold on. He flashed with his back chromatophores. Don't move. She stopped still, swiveling her eyes looking for the threat. He slowly raised up as something past the breakers rose from the water. The two watched as water rolled off the top of a large flat mass. The mass rose into the air, revealing eyes, tendrils, and several large trunk-like legs. The blue and purple creature took a step out of the surf, reaching over the breakers and into the calmer pools nearer the island. It took another step and was at the shore, its shadow covering the two Vitalians. It stopped, aiming a yellow eye orb at them. The two stared up at the creature as a chunk of sea plants fell from its ovoid edge, nearly landing on Slayer. He stepped aside, still staring into the creature's eye. Stubborn touched her chest calm. We have a situation on the shore. Callie responded. We have a potential situation with this entire planet. We need to leave now. Get everyone you find back to the habitus. Right now, we are trying not to move. We have visual confirmation on one of the giant aquatic creatures. Are you two okay? What is it doing? Callie asked. Stubborn watched as the eye looked away from them and the creature started walking again, stepping over the tall jungle trees. Well, we are apparently safe for the moment, but it is heading your way. Slayer reached over and touched Stubborn's arm. She looked over at them and noticed he was looking out at the sea. 3 more of the towering creatures were cresting out of the ocean. Callie, you have multiple massive incoming. Callie spoke over the open channel. Everyone rally! Don't fire unless attacked. We have incoming. Veritas had several holographic displays going in Callie's office, each a collaboration of video feeds from all the boots on the ground. Callie stood staring at the 24 titanic sea creatures encircling their camp. Veritas, status, she said. Background noise on numerous frequencies. I'm working on deciphering it, but presently it just seems like noise. No one has fired, and no one has been attacked yet. The creatures are focusing eyes on our teams. I do believe they share the intelligence Grape Juice identified. Veritas paused. Incoming craft. The away team is circling the island. They are hesitant to approach with the creatures surrounding us. Callie paced, her hands on her head and fingers running through her hair. Crap, shit! How many are still out there? 53, ma'am. Are we prepped for liftoff? If I get everyone on board, can we get the hell out of here? No, ma'am. Veritas paused. Diagnostics has confirmed through 7 different sensor caches. Struts are encapsulated in vines. If we were to clear those, we might be able to lift off. Callie looked at the hologram. It knows we're here. It is watching us, and I'm watching it. She paced, staring at the creatures. I want to know what they want. They want to know what we want. We need a way to communicate. Shit. Callie stormed out of the room and into the hallway. Veritas appeared beside her, glowing gold. You appear to have a plan? Callie nodded, staring ahead of herself. Yup. I gotta get everyone in and we gotta get out of here. That's the plan. That is an objective miss. What is the plan? Callie entered into the cargo bay and touched her comm. Josiah, you hear me? Yeah, I hear you. What's happening out there? He replied. That unknown intelligence is out there, and several of our people are cut off." She waved for the several scribblers and loaders to leave the bay. She watched as they strapped in their rigs and departed into their tunnels. "What can we do? We got a plan?" "Yes," she answered. "Get the ship ready to take off. All crew at stations. I'm going to go try to get our people a path in." Veritas ran numbers and put up his hands next to her. "There are too many unknowns, ma'am. You could be risking everyone if you go out there." She looked past the hologram and hit the open button for the door. "Josiah, when I get back, you owe me a dinner." Josiah laughed over the comm. "I've needed to take out for a while. What are you going to be hungry for?" "Anything but sushi." Her smile was short, and her face quickly changed to concern as the door finished opening. She stepped out into the jungle, unsuited. Rockborn watched from the nearby hill as the tiny dot of Callie approached the nearest creature to the base. She stood 20 meters from it and was staring up at one of its yellow orb-like eyes. The creature stared back at her. Her comm was on and broadcasting. "Hello, my name is Callie. We did not mean to hurt your trees. We are here to study this world, and we mean no harm to you or anything here." The tower-sized creature continued staring for a moment. Before she was about to speak again, it and all the others on the island began generating a loud buzz. Callie, as well as Rockborn and his troops, felt it in their bones. Rockborn was able to withstand it, but he watched as Callie fell to her knees with her hands on her head. He watched as she was apparently yelling, but nothing reached him over the comms but static. She stood up, fighting the noise, and pointed at the creature, still yelling. Rockborn looked over his people. They were hurting just as much as she was. He looked back at her. She was running towards the creature, screaming, drops of blood running from her ears. She was nearing one of the trunk-like legs when a multiple-fingered grasper reached down quickly and grabbed her. In a matter of seconds, she disappeared into the bottom of the creature's main body. Rockborn straightened up, readying his bio-rifle to fire at it, but it had started moving away from the habitas, as were several of the other creatures. Rockborn attempted aiming through the pain, and then the noise stopped. Veritas came in over the comm. "Her plan is a go. Everyone hurry to the habitas. Away team, you are clear to land. Rockborn, you and your team clear the struts." He kept his gun aimed, but then dropped it down. "My team, with me. Let's get to the base. Clear the struts like the AI said." The soldiers lined up with him, and they scooted through the trees toward the base. Veritas had extended the landers up, revealing the vines wrapping around and through the poles. Rockborn mimed his men to start cutting, and the scribblers pulled out their swords. After 2 strikes, the vines started recoiling on their own back into the soil. He paused, staring. Everyone up into the ship now. Give cover fire if anyone needs it." He and his men started into the cargo hold. Callie was encased in slime. She couldn't see. Her eyes, mouth, and nose were burning. Her hands sank into coils of tissue. She struggled, gasping for air. Starting to panic, she pushed deep into the coils and was flung into an air-filled sack. She gasped, sucking in air. She had space. She felt around. The walls were a foot away from her on all sides. The floor of the area was slick with an inch of slime. Several green-yellow lights illuminated, showing the biological room surrounding her as her ears popped from a pressure change. She gagged up more slime, coughing, and then shouted, "Let me go! You're risking a potential conflict! Let me go!" She pushed on the walls, hitting them. As she struck, she looked at the wall. It was semi-translucent. Green masses moved through the innards of the beast. She touched her ear, finding her communicator was missing. Shit! She hit the wall again. Damn it. Rockborn made it up to the helm. He looked at the hologram displaying the creatures leaving. "Veritas," he typed on his inner control comm. "You got a read on her?" Veritas appeared beside him. Her bio signs went offline. The signals are more in line with digitals removed than her dying. So she could still be alive? I believe so. Rockborn looked around the room. The crew were all staring at him. Veritas, who is in charge? You are, sir, until she gets back. What about our pilot? Josiah, he should be commanding, right? No. She nominated you to be mission leader in case something happened. Rockborn slowly blinked his faceted eyes. Well, is everyone on board? Yes, all teams are accounted for and away team is secured. Only missing is Callie. Rockborn entered the open comm channel. Cadence, I need you to the helm. I'm manning a turret presently. I still got lines. You got something serious? Yeah. I'm in charge until Callie gets back. I need you up here to help me. She laughed over the channel. Okay, I'll be right there. Rockborn looked around the room. Everyone, her objective still stands. We are to leave and get to the orbital now. This planet is high risk. We gotta go. The Gree of the Habitas spoke through the roof pipes, whispering. I don't think we can leave. Rockborn looked up at the ceiling. And why not? We need to get out of here. You especially. If this planet remembers your species, it may try and finish the job of killing you. The Gree sighed. I think it does remember my kind. I've lost feeling to parts of the ship, and at the edges I feel something clawing. I don't think I can lift off as I am presently. Veritas shimmered. Running diagnostics. Picking up unknown noises and life signs. The Gree is correct. We have something aboard. Rockborn spoke out over the open channel. Everyone, ship is injured. We are sending out affected areas now. Be on high alert. We may have hostiles aboard. Maintenance teams go in. Security give them protection. Rockborn sat down in Callie's chair and looked at the hologram of the island. Veritas. Run that static pulse the creatures put out through every kind of filter you can conceive. See if it was some kind of language. Yes, sir. Cadence stepped into the helm and walked over to Rockborn. Hey. He looked up at her. We're stuck here for a bit. She put her hand on his shoulder. Well, maybe one of the carriers can swing by and pick us up. Veritas glowed beside them, shaking his head. Communications to the orbital and beyond are being blocked. It will be several hours before a rescue party is sent down to investigate. Rockborn nodded. Then we need to be battle-ready. This thing is moving a plan and is already ahead of us. We need to get in play. Cadence nodded. Can I get back to my turret? He laughed through his air holes. Yeah. I want 360 with crossing kill zones. Whatever is in this ship, I want it dead, and the Gree healed up now. He looked over at Veritas. And you need to get all sensors on high alert. You should have caught whatever is scurrying around. My apologies, sir. They just sort of appeared. They left no sensor trail until just a few moments ago. All teams, whatever is scurrying around, get it dead and down to grape juice quickly. We need intel. He said shipwide.